Hello, Kathy and John. Good morning from Woodsong. A beautiful spring day, the kind of day that the poets write about. And on days like this, we are all poets. Kathy, you wanted to hear the Woodsong Notes, so I will read them to you. There are two here. One from the winter note called The Grandest Gift of All, and the other one, untitled, but it is the spring issue. Please understand that the written English and the spoken English are different. As I sit here, I will use these papers as a guide to go by, but I will not read them just exactly as they're written. But we'll make it better, I hope, by adding those things that just come intuitively as I go along. The grandest gift of all. Words in the world are waiting to be strung in a new order, a new rhythm, a new sequence that has never been written exactly this way before. In the world, something soft and wonderful sings in the heart of us. Something new and inwardly different is happening in the world. Now, read the words that follow and listen to them softly. Something marvelous will happen. And why not? It really will, so why not? This is the season of it. Everyone wants to know about it, but only it can tell of it. It is the authority. Everyone wants it and has been searching for it, but we all overshoot the mark and miss it until we are ready to appreciate it. At first, we didn't know it when we had it, and we still have it and don't know it. Because to the undisciplined intellect, that limiting and arrogant half of us, it doesn't seem big enough or good enough. It doesn't fulfill the lofty intellect's expectation. Oh, but it is it anyway. Something happens, and it walks onto the tangible stage, right into our affairs. It is wonderful. It has been called many things, but names only disguise it. What is this something that happens? Well, we've all had intimations of it. We were born with it. Everyone experienced it somewhere along the line. We may not have recognized it when it happened, but in retrospect, we remember the exhilaration and the softness. We remember it. It shaped our lives when we were conscious of it, whether we were conscious of it or not. It came when we were children, perhaps reading or listening to stories. We have been searching for it again ever since. It happened at our mother's side as she worked in the garden. And we still find comfort in gardens. It happened in the mountains. And the mountains forever hold us in their arms. It happened while we frolicked with playful animals, and we love animals to this day. This marvelous experience of it early in our lives has us searching for it again the rest of our days. Kathy, you told me how it was when it happened to you as a young lady. Well, now, when it happened, the child of us was alive and well. The child within us was lively, nimble, and alert, clapping hands and laughing. Well, now, here we are, reaching out for that same one it again. We've been reaching out to that same one it throughout our lives. That's what has had us picking up this book or that one, or going to this lecture or that. It has us searching for that it again. Well, what is it? Listen, listen. It is a tiny moment of sweet inner lightness and delight. It is a moment of relief from the world's heaviness. It is an instant of recognition and weightless surveillance of the scene. It is a flawless moment that lets us say, hey, this is a fine minute. I feel all right. I feel good again. I feel joy. Everything is all right. That's it. That goodness and lightness is it. That's what it is. Unfortunately, it's no big event to the intellect of us, yet its recognition and acknowledgment is the most brimming inner understanding anyone will ever acquire, and the heart of us knows this is so. It is the grandest thing one can imagine, because in the midst of it, suddenly, everything is all right, including the universe and everything in it, including our own most personal experiences and our interface with everyone. That's all right too, and we know it. The marvel of marvels begins as a tiny little mustard seed of sweet, innocent peace inside us. The conscious perception of this is the big bang of the future, awaiting the world. When we recognize it and acknowledge it, as we're doing this very minute, it grows and grows. After it has been recognized and acknowledged, as we're doing this very minute, it comes back again, larger and more apparent. It returns again and again at other unexpected moments, still larger, until it grows into the tree of paradise wherein the angels play. We have all needed someone in our personal life who recognizes it and says, that's it. This is it. The it I write about is the purpose of all the human disciplines. Kathy, it's the reason for all the books you've read. And you too, John. It is the objective of the philosophies. All the religions and secret societies intended to bring us to light. When they are successful, they bring us to this tiny moment wherein we finally recognize it for what it is. Simple peace. Sweet, simple peace. The inner delight we feel, even as we hear this, is it. Here it is. It's right here as the awareness, listening to these words. It hasn't gone away, you see. It never left us nor forsook us. We are it, and it is us. It is me and thee and everyone. And it is still right here, a tiny moment of peace in the world, ready to explode into the new world and to make all things new. Now, Kathy and John and all my Woodsong friends, we can stop overshooting the mark. The mark has always been a simple peace within, a feeling of quietness, a moment, a tiny moment sometimes, of lucid light, wherein we finally stop missing it and say aloud in exaltation, this is it. This is really it. This moment of peace I feel right now. No matter how old we are, no matter how crippled we are, where we are, we can still feel it. And when we recognize it, that this is really it, this moment of peace. Everything right now is all right. No bill collectors now, no sons and daughters fussing now, no one giving us the devil right now, no one berating us, nothing intruding on this holy moment, no guilt right now. So now, when visitors come to Woodsong looking for the mystical conclusion of a lifetime of searching, they found it right here as themselves. Here it is. Now, if I could write it, I'd give it to the world for an eternal gift. But it can't be given. It can't be taken. It just is. It is the pearl of great price. And it is all that's real. It is here and available to everyone equally. When we are ready, finally ready to appreciate and acknowledge it and be satisfied with it, we let go a little. We relax a little. And in a moment of just giving up, in a moment of surrender of old ideas, in a moment of letting go some of the silly preconceived notions about what it is and where it is, well, here it is, pouring in on us and out of us with infinite blessing. Was it here all the while? Oh, yes, yes. Well, why didn't we see it? Well, what matter? What difference does that make? Here it is now. What a wonder it is. So close, so present. Yet unseen and unaccepted, but looked for and longed for, always available in the twinkling of an eye by letting go a moment and acknowledging it with childlike gratitude. It is a relaxing, a soft and gentle look around the scene. It is a smile and a sigh of relief. It comes with healing and peace on its wings. Not a peace the world understands, but we understand because we feel it, and we know it, we acknowledge it. We clap hands in a moment of freedom and thanksgiving, and something synergistic happens. Hey, you didn't know it was this simple, did you? Well, here it is. The heart of us already knows the truth in these words. The heart inside feels something stirring right now, and that stirring is it. That stirring. That inner stirring. That's it. You thought it was religious? You thought it was metaphysical? You thought that it came with a knowledge of all wisdom? You thought that everything would change and be healed? You thought that it would be something else, but it is more likely what we didn't expect. Yet it is always more than we could have ever imagined. Intellectual expectations are good, but clinging to a personal idea of it caused us to miss the mark. I always wanted the blinding road to Damascus experience, but it evaded me until I was ready, and right now we're ready. It is the joy of all rightness. It is the recognition that life is good and that good is God. That God is good and that good is everywhere, whether we stop to see it or not. It is hidden in simplicity and clothed in childlikeness. You've always known that, John and Kathy. It isn't recognized by the pompous and mighty. It isn't seen by worldly merchants, the greedy, the envious, the rich, the famous, or the powerful. It is seen by the child heart of us. The heart that's had enough of the distorted world and is ready for better things. It is seen by the simple, the meek, the mild-mannered. It is seen by the troubled because they're ready to put their troubles down. It is seen by any and all who are willing to admit its presence, its simplicity, and its nearness. Well, this it, this marvelous it, is within us right now, awaiting our acknowledgement. If we bring it forth, we live. Now, this next paper will not be easy to read at all because it's entirely different. It is written without the usual reason and logic of Greek thinking. It's written more in the Oriental way. But the paper is right on. And this is written to the heart, by the way, and not to the intellect. To try to understand this with the intellect will drive you crazy. And is the reason why the rabbis have always said one doesn't get into metaphysics unless he's willing to go all the way to the end. So listen gently, this is written to the heart, much as the Tao Te Ching was written to the heart. Mind and thinking are two that are one, yet thinking is clearly subservient to mind, within which it functions. Breath and breathing are two that are one, yet breathing is clearly subservient to breath, within which it functions effortlessly. Now, if one equates breathing with thinking, he perceives that at any given moment he is either exhaling or inhaling, and that is exactly the same difference between male and female. Together, each includes the other and needs the other, whereas separately they long to be fulfilled within the other, and they are separate only in any given moment of time. Mind, God, and thinking, man, are separate only in time, longing for the fulfillment of the other. We let go separateness and equally let go the given moment to be fulfilled in God. Thinking comes to rest in mind, where it has been all the while perfectly secure and untroubled. It is the separate longing of thinking to be all that mind is that has led to the inferior state wherein thinking is filled with guilt instead of mind. We let go the longing to know what can't be known and come to rest in mind. We let go thinking, we let thinking know what thinking is, and then it knows as it is known. You see, we are the thinking of God, but we've been trying to make ourselves God and to know all of the mysteries of God. Thinking is not the whole of mind, but mind is the whole of thinking. When thinking knows itself fully, the tree of life returns to rest in mind. Never can thinking know all that God is, but it knows most when it knows what thinking is. The attempt to know what God knows leads to frustration and woe, but the attempt to rest in mind leads straight to eternal life. Well, now, how do I know this is so? If I rest in breathing, I breathe gently in and out, out and in, without taking thought and without suffering. If I take aim to make breathing equal to breath, well, suddenly I have two. I have exhaling and inhaling. I identify as one or the other. And I have just made a given moment in time. Well, identified as one or the other, like male or female, I look for fulfillment in the other rather than in breath, where I had fulfillment without anguish or suffering. But while looking for fulfillment in either exhaling or inhaling, I find myself in physical need, suffering or not suffering, and all degrees between. Aren't mankind's anguishes wrapped up in gender wants and wishes, pains, joys, and fulfillments that last an instant? Where is any peace in that? Thinking is divided into two, and then 4, then 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, and gridlock. So I stop. I return to source. I rest where I began. I find peace. I thank Godhead for God and I. I embrace my world and bless it. I hold it sacred for Godhead. A cosmology of the original exegesis of events. Before the beginning, beingness was. Beingness knows itself fully and perfectly. Knowingness, therefore, is implanted within beingness, and beingness within knowingness. And these two are one. These two are only. Now, being said to its own self-knowing, show me that I know I am. Or prove to me I know what I am. Or show me that I am that I am. Well, now in that day, finite life came into being, and that light became the measure of light. Time and space were born, and knowing came alive in the discipline. The discipline is the learning of knowing, the human experience in time. Knowing permeated being. I'm sorry, I'll start that again. Knowing permeated by being is unable to see the entirety of being without first knowing what knowing is. Knowing looks out with its limited light at the qualities and the attributes of being. It looks out also at the qualities and attributes of knowing. Looking out and looking in, listening out and listening in, speaking out and speaking in, feeling out and feeling in, sensing or living is the discipline and process. Living is knowing, and knowing is living. Knowing and living are one being, self-known in self-examination. Identity is this, and there is no other identity. Life is this, and there is no other life. Existence is this, and there is no other existence. The discipline is motivated by the desire to know the self. Knowing in process is necessarily incomplete. Incomplete knowing, like inhaling or exhaling, seems separate from being and desires to be all that being is. That desire is called the mist. Desire obfuscates, prolongs, and educates the discipline. All the while, limited light is merely the image of light. Limited light moves, but the light it measures doesn't move at all. The mist deprives knowing of directly sensing being. Sensing, therefore, does not see it, but sees only the qualities and attributes of it, often believing them to be it. The qualities and attributes are symbols of it, and it is self-known from the symbol. To understand the symbols is to understand the body, but the body is not in the symbols. To understand the body is to understand it, but it is not in the body. It has been this way since the beginning of time, and it will be this way until the end of time. Time ends when the sensing body ends its sensing. Time is in it, but it is not in time. To know it is to know male and female. Male and female are in it, and it is in male and female. And these three are one. Male is female, and female is male. And these two are one. Male is male, and female is female, and these two are two. These two are the symbol of the one. They exist in the one, but the one is real, and the symbols pass away. Male and female are eternal. Identity is eternally that. The universe is a macrocosm of the body, and the body is a microcosm of the universe. The body is in the body, and the body is in the body, but only the body is real. It would be very helpful in listening to this to know which of those words are capitalized and which are not. Male and female are eternal. Identity is eternally that. The universe is a macrocosm of the body, and the body is a microcosm of the universe. The body has been called soul, and it is eternal. The body, little b, the little b body is neither real nor unreal. It is an image of the body. The universe is neither real nor unreal. It is an image of the body. The image lives, capital image lives, and the little image perishes. Knowing lives, the known perishes. The known with a capital K, the known is eternal. Paradox is real. Simplicity is a paradox. Simplicity is called the child. The child is eternal. The human child becomes an adult in order to understand the child. The adult perishes. The child lives forever. Life is the image of being. The resurrection is the re-emergence of the eternal child of God from out the limits of limited life. The universe is a macrocosm, microcosm of the body of life, being, knowing. Hahn said, "This is the order of the things as it's been shown to me. My history as a human picks up from here. My discipline is to learn the real. The real is the child within. The child re-emerges as I live the discipline again and again. The discipline is neither real nor unreal, but clearly it exists. The human experience is neither real nor unreal, but clearly it exists. What exists is necessary and for very good reason. The discipline is to determine that. The child of myself is real because it has found me and I it. It is me. I am it. I am the child of God." Hahn said, "I was shown the great equation. The equation goes by many names. I'm not the first to find it or learn its secrets. It has been spoken of since the beginning. It has been obvious from the beginning, seen by few and lived by fewer. It becomes obvious when it is lived, but it must be lived before it's obvious and understood to be the way. The equation is like a door I passed through in order to find what lies beyond the door. I didn't know what was beyond the door until I went through it. Being is on both sides of the door, but being is self-known beyond the door. I do not know anyone who knows aught about it who has not been through the door. Many have been through the door who do not know they have passed through. None have passed through until they have been through it, top and bottom, heaven and earth, root and branch, first and last, male and female." Well, what is meant by this? I look at nature and find out. We look at ourselves and know what is meant by this. But we live this before we know what is meant. We pass through the door before we know what passing through the door means. The door is called the way. The way is in it, and it is in the way. The way strips us of the mist. We pass through the door and the mist lifts. Now the secret, the equation, begins to disclose itself. The secret is it. It is the secret. To it, there is no secret. To it, there is no mist. Ordinary people live half the equation. When they hear of the equation, they laugh at it and they scoff at the one who told them. Superior people live half the equation. When they hear of the equation, they abuse it and believe they have always known it, and they distrust the one who told them of it. Ignorant people live neither half of the equation. They try to humiliate the one who tells them. Childlike people live the entire equation without even thinking about it. They love the one who tells them of it, and they honor that one exactly as that one honors them. Now, these four kinds of people are myself. And from time to time I am each of these. But the childlike discover life and our eternity. Now, Kathy and John, listen to me. The child has much to do. The child has a mission. He looks round about himself and lives the equation, the door, the way. He shows himself how to pass through the discipline to the door of himself. He lives the equation as long as he looks round about. He gives to himself and himself. He gives his life to save another. He gives his life to save himself. He saves himself by living the equation and telling it to those who can hear. To whom does he tell of the equation? To images of himself. Who are the images of himself? All who are willing to go through the door. But the child speaks of the equation itself only to those who are living it, for they are the ones with ears to hear. Smiling at the little group, Han said, "If these words are a mystery, one doesn't know the equation even though he may be living it. But if he is living the equation, he will learn the mystery of these words and find them precise and true. These will live life more abundantly. These are those whom my Father hath given to me." Kathy, you and John have been given to me, most certainly, even as I have been given to both of you.